What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. Now for this video, we're going to be jumping into the Swamp Thing issue number 6. And if you haven't been keeping up with this line, go ahead and check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. You are not going to want to miss any of the Swamp Thing, because it is being amazingly written by Ram V, which is arguably, in my opinion, one of the best writers from DC Comics. Or I should say, that is working at DC Comics. And if you haven't checked out his stuff that is not associated with DC Comics, a lot of his indie stuff is super amazing and well worth the dive into. Now, the pencils is Mike Perkins. The inks are the same, the colors are by Mike Spicer. And then the last issue, what we've really been seeing between a crossover of the Suicide Squad and the Swamp Thing, is Amanda Waller now has her eyes set on capturing the Swamp Thing. And so she sends in Peacemaker and a few others, kind of D-listers, to try to capture him. And so with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 6, we are picking up in the forest of India. And currently, we have our Swamp Thing transforming, making his way to this jungle. Going through this transformation much slower than usual, but the green is bringing him here because something is going on. Something is happening to the forest, and the green needs some help. And this is where we cut over to our Suicide Squad. And what we're learning is that the Suicide Squad 4 hours ago, they dropped what is called the Prescot bioagent. They released it over a 90 square mile area of this forest. And the theory is that all the vegetation communicates with itself, like a neural network. And so this bioagent is supposed to impair that. They cut off this chunk of the forest from the rest of the green world. And in hopes this is going to draw out the Swamp Thing, and they'll be able to find him, capture him, and bring him back to Amanda Waller. And having multiple locations where they think he might be, they're going to split up. Peacemaker and Nightmare Nurse going together, sending Parasite as well as Heatwave in another group, and only having 5 members, he goes ahead and sends Chemo off by himself. But, Chemo could really handle himself, being able to be 20 stories tall, letting them all know that they have an order to bring him in dead or alive. And so we see them all break off in opposite directions. But as Heatwave and Parasite run off, Parasite just takes off, just gone, talking about how he needs a feed, and he is gone in an instant, and Heatwave is left alone as Chemo walks in the opposite direction. Now, so far in this story, we've learned that the green really holds on to memories. That's really what it is at the end of the day. He can dive into any memory he or a past life has ever had. And because of this, it gives them great ability to access wisdom and knowledge when they need it. And so the green is showing him something. It's showing him a time with his brother where they both sat and looked over all of India, reminiscing about their childhood, reminiscing about how it was to be innocent, how it was to enjoy these forests, to be out in this mud, to be out here in a place where we come from. And so the green is trying to show him something. It's trying to show him some kind of message, letting him know something of importance is here, regardless if he sees it or not, regardless if he wanted to come back to this place or not. There is something of importance here. Now, while he is in this state, back in reality, his body is sitting underneath a tree, not really transformed into the Swamp Thing, but completely covered in vines and with very dark red eyes. And as he sits here, this is when Heatwave makes his appearance. And with Heatwave seeing this, seeing the Swamp Thing, he immediately decides it is time to burn him down. And lifting up his flamethrower, he shoots the flame, and we see the Swamp Thing engulfed in flames. And we see the green come alive, vines immediately attacking him, and he drops some charges. Dropping these charges, we see a giant explosion. And in this explosion, it gives the Swamp Thing ample opportunity to run away. And with Heatwave in hot pursuit, he's radioing in, letting him know that he has found the Swamp Thing and he has him on the run. But the only issue is, Levi, the Swamp Thing, just jumped over a cliff. jumping down into a lake below. Not sure if he survived, not sure if he's going to be able to make it. Peacekeeper absolutely losing his shit right now, specifically because Parasite is not answering any communications. It's just in a feeding frenzy mode, and Heatwave didn't radio in for backup. So this operation has already gone sideways in more ways than one. And the great thing about this is Nightmare Nurse has already dealt with Swamp Thing before. Maybe not Levi, but has dealt with the Swamp Thing nonetheless. And she really tells Peacemaker, like, you don't know what we're actually up against. Like, none of you understand the force that we are really trying to capture here. The odds of us actually getting out of this alive are really slim to none. And with Levi now sitting at the bottom of this lake bed, he is brought to another memory, a memory of his father. And this is him when he visited in India, when he came to see his father prior to him dying. And this is an important conversation, because this was a conversation him trying to convince them that the Prescot's bioagent people, they were good people, and that having him here is only going to help the economy of the people here. Now, of course, the city, the elders, they all disagree with this. This isn't something they want here. And it's because people like Levi, who left home early, they don't understand the true significance of this land. They are deeply rooted within inside of it. The mud is a part of who they are. And this is something that he never learned, or maybe it's something that he forgot along the way. And remembering his father's words, remembering that his father told them that they all come from the mud. This is where we see Levi sit up. On the bottom of this lake bed, we see him start to transform. We see the Swamp Thing starting to fully become. And as Heatwave makes his way along the shoreline, looking for any sign of his body, not sure if he's alive, not sure if he is dead, Peacemaker tells him to wait there, to wait for his arrival, wait for the rest of the team. And so Heatwave, sitting on the shoreline, patiently waiting, not knowing that there is a giant Swamp Thing standing directly behind him, and he is not happy. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. You know, this was a relatively short one, but it's really just showing us the Suicide Squad making their way to the Swamp Thing and trying to take him on. Simultaneously, Levi is still learning tons of lessons. He is still new to the Swamp Thing. He's new to all of this. So for him, he's got so many lessons to learn. And while Alec Holland really did help him out a little bit on understanding who the Swamp Thing is, what the green is, and how this is all connected, there are still many lessons he needs to learn. And the green is more than willing to oblige in teaching him all of this. And I absolutely love this though. I think it is absolutely phenomenal that Amanda Waller thinks that she could even touch the Swamp Thing. Her ego has gotten so big, it's so inflated at this point, she believes she could take on one of the natural forces of the world. Now, Future State Swamp Thing is a very interesting story, and if you guys haven't checked that out, I highly recommend doing so, because seeing Swamp Thing after all of humanity has essentially perished is a very, very interesting concept. And seeing the Swamp Thing not only wander the world alone, but eventually end up creating more or less his own humanity, becoming almost a god himself. So I'm very interested to see all of this play out, how we got from point A to point B. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. And until the next breakdown.